Philippines is located in the Southeast Asia and found between the Western Pacific Ocean and the West Philippine Sea. Like other countries, the Philippines is always vulnerable to extreme weather due to climate change, which affects all of us, particularly our very own biodiversity. Now I'll be discussing my topic, navigating the effects of climate change to the Philippine biodiversity. Philippines is a megadiverse country in the world that houses the two-thirds of the global biodiversity and accounts between 70 and 80% of global plants and animal species. Further, the country is in the fifth ranked number of flora and sustains the global flora at 5%. However, these accounts were affected by the climate change. For the past years, the weather patterns in the Philippines becomes inconsistent due to climate change, and one of the most evident change that the country is experiencing is the increase of temperature about 1 degree Celsius. As the temperature increases, this causes ecosystem shifts, which causes the native species to decline or go extinct, affecting biodiversity. As temperature rises, it affects the integrity of the environment, leading to biodiversity decrease. Given as an example, warming of ocean causes coral bleaching, a process that expels the symbiotic algae causing them to turn white. And to note that the Philippines houses multitude of coral species, and once all these species got lost in the system, it causes disruption of the ecological structure. Further, many species in the Philippines were challenged due to the increase of temperature. The relative increase of temperature above normal affects the adaptability of every organism. Some species shifted their habitat preference or terrain, which leads to the potential loss of local population. This movement affects the predator and prey relationship, and so as the resource competition. In relation to the increasing temperature, this leads to the formation of strong typhoons, which make the Philippines more vulnerable, as this country is situated in the typhoon belt. As these typhoons escalate, biodiversity counts were affected, including the tarsiers in Bohol, which this environmental phenomenon poses threat to their existence. As estimated by the World Bank, an international organization based in Washington, USA, if the Philippines cannot safeguard their biodiversity by 2030, the Philippines may lose nearly $21 billion if the environment will fail and if there's no robust policies that would safeguard these biologically significant species. The decline of biodiversity and so as the destruction of ecosystem is an issue of development, which boils down to the economy of the nations, particularly implicates the low-income countries like the Philippines, as this nation depends more on the resources offered by the environment, particularly biodiversity. The effect of climate change to the Philippine biodiversity is indeed substantial, from monetary valuation which accounts to billions of dollars and so as affecting the stability of Philippine ecosystem. With all this, various efforts were made by the government and other collective groups to address these climate-related problems and biodiversity loss. As discussed by the NDC of the Philippines that was communicated to the UNFCCC on 15th of April 2021, among the prioritized goals that the Philippines promised to undertake is to prioritize sustainable development, climate justice, climate change adaptation through habitat conservation, and multi-sectoral participation to collectively address the issue posed by climate change. Further, as discussed by the National Climate Change Action Plan of 2011 to 2028 of the Philippines, human well-being is highly dependent on the ecosystem and the benefits they provide. Hence, the Philippine government prioritizes ecological and environmental stability through enhanced resilience and stability of natural systems and communities. Hence, through this way that the government takes, these will augment the environment's stability against anthropogenic climate change, thus augmenting the resilience of flora and fauna against these circumstances, making the integrity of Philippine biodiversity strong and robust. Aside from the governmental instrumentalities that fosters policies, rules, and ways towards environmental conservation and biodiversity preservation, there are non-government organizations that act as a supporting arm to attain the goal for environmental conservation, climate resilience, and biodiversity restoration. Foundation for the Philippine Environment is an organization that fosters environmental awareness, biodiversity conservation, and so as introducing the idea of climate change to the people through information drive. They also promote environmentally friendly ways to address all the environmental challenges that we are facing. The Ecological Society of the Philippines, on the other hand, is an environmental group that inculcates environmental awareness about the relevant problems that the world is facing nowadays, like climate change, biodiversity loss, environmental degradation, and such, and they are also aiming to find solutions to these problems. The Haribon Foundation is an environmental group that aims to protect the country's resources, and this organization was founded last 1972. The organization works to protect the biodiversity of the country and so as restoring habitats for better environmental resilience and species abode. Biodiversity conservation is really close to my heart. Well, in fact, when I was in college, I used to study earthworm as a subject of my study. There I discovered five relatively new species of earthworm. So this result implicates that we need to protect our environment against all these perturbations so that we could discover new species which could add up to the bodies of knowledge and so as in the field of science. For us to attain our goals and aspiration towards climate change resilience and biodiversity conservation, we need to consider the integration of sustainable development goals in our apps. These goals consist of ideas, ways, and means on how are we going to conduct our present for better and sounding future for all of us. The effect of climate change isn't individual specific, but it affects all of us. That is why we need to have these collective efforts for us to address this problem. Because collective thinking, collective acts, and collective means could garner some certain golden ideas that would somehow address or help address these kind of problems that are existing now. With all, as a global community, we need to act as one in addressing these problems. Together, acting as one would help unleash great ideas and ways in managing these problems. Through this convergence of action, we can help fight all these perturbations and challenges that we are facing. That's all, and thank you.